Hey everyone, Chris Carter here from the Locked On Steelers podcast. Can the Steelers replicate what they did on offense against the Ravens for the rest of the season? That's a question I'll explore with Alan Saunders, both in the passing game, but also can they grow the run game the way that they were able to flip things around for their deep passing game? We'll talk about that potential here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Let's get you our stars and skulls grades. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Steelers, your daily Pittsburgh Steelers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter, bringing you your daily dose of all things on the Pittsburgh Steelers. As always, you can find the show on your favorite podcasting apps and on YouTube. Like this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to this YouTube channel to get all of your daily Monday through Friday episodes, as well as our bonus content. We thank you for making us your first listen every day because we're your team every day. And reminder, we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is now the #1 sports podcasting network. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com to place your NFL live bets all season long. As I said before, we're joined by the man himself, Alan Saunders. He's back on the show from SteelersNow.com. Alan, I want to talk to you about this offense. I talked about it a bit quite a bit yesterday because it was such a big story from the game in how they flipped on the deep passing game. We talked about all week leading to this game. They hadn't completed a pass on a target 20 yards or further downfield for a month. And then Aaron Rodgers goes 4 for 4 in that department for a tune of 152 yards on those, 3 of those to DK Metcalf, 1 of those to Calvin Austin. And I felt it opened up a whole lot of other stuff in the offense. We'll get to that in a sec. But is that something that you think was just a one-off because the Ravens went a lot of single high safety and their defense hasn't been exactly the best? Or is this something that you think that Aaron Rodgers can channel and get something to continue to work in this offense?
Well, I think it was always something that Aaron Rodgers could do. I mean, it's not like he forgot, right?
Right.
We saw him do it before. I do wonder but I think it was pretty clear that Baltimore came out trying to stop the run, that Buffalo had come out trying to stop the run and been successful doing that. And Baltimore looked at that blueprint and said, hey, we think that can work for us. And I think the Steelers, having had that failure against Baltimore, also just expecting the historical tendencies of the Baltimore Ravens, said, you know what, I think the deep pass could be a big one. Mike Tomlin said as much. They identified it early in the week that they thought that was going to be a successful game plan for them, and they executed it well. I think the situation that allowed them to execute that, which is a defense that was geared up to stop the run, also a defense that is just flat out bad at rushing the passer, you probably won't get a whole lot of times this season. But I think it's very important to be able to do the thing that the defense is daring you to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to be great at it to be able to do it when they're lined up in an alignment that says, we don't think you can do whatever insert fill in the blank is. It doesn't matter what it is. If you have a thing that if the defense says, we dare you to do this and you can't do it, then you're really stuck as an offense.
And so, I think that's sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just saying I think it's really important that they were able to show that, even if that scenario isn't going to come up a whole lot over the rest of the season.
No, and that's my thing is I think it's important to show that because I brought this up in my article, my Carter's Critiques article in the Post Gazette after the game, going back to, the Ravens, on Hard Knocks saying that they can't hit the mid-range jumper. And that was clearly part of their plan was we're going to ignore this part of the field because they're not going to use it. We're going to take away these other things. And then the Steelers couldn't counter that. I'm fairly certain the Ravens came into this game saying, they're not going to hit the deep ball. They haven't done it for a month. And Aaron Rodgers is too old. Let's force them to have to do it. And then when they did it, it opened up other things. And, I brought this up, yesterday, but the more I looked at it, like that Darnell Washington 12-yard completion that turned a second and 17 into a 3rd and 2 that the Steelers would convert on. It was set up because they ran several deep routes and they had to honor them because they were like, okay, they've hit us for a couple of these. And then all of a sudden, Darnell Washington has a ton of space over the middle and he just walks up the field, gets the big yards. And that sets things up. It also helped on a Kenneth Gainwell catch and run. That was a 3rd down conversion. I think it set up quite a few things. And so I think that that's something that is replicable. I think you can do that in other ways, but it doesn't have to be 4 times a game the way it was in this game. If you hit it twice and then it opens up other things, that's great. I think it kind of had to be in this game because they were so committed to stop the run, and we'll get to the run game in a second. But again, to your point, I think it's a good sign that we saw it come back for Aaron Rodgers, because it was a legitimate question. Is this just Russell Wilson last year where he just kind of faded down the stretch and you just saw him go away, or Ben Roethlisberger from 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I also think it's like when you're not a very good offense in general, like it's kind of a cheat code. But like they had 190 yards on 5 splash passing plays, the 4 deep balls, and the Jaylen Warren catch and run. They only had 318 yards.
Yeah.
Almost their entire offense was those 5 plays. It was not a very productive offense outside of those 5 plays. Every single scoring drive they had at least one of those splash plays in it, except for the James Pierre where they kicked the field goal after he intercepted it in field goal range. The offense did basically nothing. They didn't have a very good day as an offense outside of those 5 plays, but those 5 plays let them score 27 points. That's a huge piece that I think has been missing.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the run game. Is this purely about other teams just throwing everything at the Steelers to shut it down, or is there a functional problem that you think the Steelers had that's going to get in the way the rest of the season, that they're kind of inflicting upon themselves in their run offense?
Well, I think first and foremost, neither of the replacements to Broderick Jones are nearly as good of a run blocker as he is.
Agreed.
And you've taken a step down from Jones to Pete, and now another one from Jones to Dylan Cook. Also, you lose Darnell Washington in the middle of this game, one of their best run blockers. And it now starting to look like an offensive line that, like, crazy to say this, might be better pass protecting than run blocking at this very point, based on
who would have thought that was a thing.
Right, exactly. So I think that's sort of what happened over the course of this game, and obviously unlikely to get Broderick Jones back, at least by the end of the regular season. And so I think it's important that they were able to lean into something else. But, much as I talked about them being able to complete deep passes when they were being dared to, they absolutely will come to playing time if they keep doing that, where the opposite will be true, and they will have to prove they can run the ball if somebody's just going to lighten the box and say, no, we're not letting you do this with DK Metcalf.
I'm right with you there. I think the Steelers are going to need this run game to wake up at some point. And the one thing I will say is that there's been multiple facets of this team that looked like it was in big trouble this season that have flipped it around. We've seen the pass defense do it. We've seen the run defense do it. We've seen the pass offense do it. So, and I think it would serve that the run game can figure it out as well. But to your point, it would really help to get Darnell Washington back soon. We don't know if he's going to come out of concussion protocol this week. I'm sure Mike Tomlin will have comments, though he normally doesn't have much comments for concussion protocol guys. But we'll see how that plays out this week for Darnell Washington. But then, Broderick Jones, this will be week 3 of his IR designation. I know that my colleague Jerry Dulac said he was out for the season, but Mike Tomlin has not indicated that just yet. Maybe there's a chance that he can come back late in the year. That could be something that helps the Steelers O-line. But I'm right with you. This offense, I think, is at its best when it's truly out of balance. If the deep ball can work, the run game can work, and then the short and intermediate pass game clicks in, and then Aaron Rodgers can have his full tools. I think if they can get to that point at some point this season, and again, we've seen the run game work this year. We've seen the short passing game coming into this week. I haven't had a chance to look at the updated numbers, but Sports Information System has a stat where it's adjusted net yards per attempt. It includes touchdowns, sacks, and turnovers, along with yards per attempt to kind of determine efficiency in it. And on short passes, 10 yards and shorter, the Steelers were the most efficient passing offense going into this game. They have that part in their bag. If they can get the long passing game and the run game to work with that, this offense can be a lot scarier. It doesn't have to be overly reliant on DK Metcalf. It can work in other guys. And I think that's the thing that the Steelers have been trying to get to tap into this year.
Yeah, and I didn't think MVS had a big impact in this game, but I think when you start to think about like the ways that teams can um, try to take DK away, I do
Yeah.
think his presence can be a counter to some of that.
Agreed. And I think Adam Thielen also, I think the two of them running the routes the way they did helped. It wasn't a big changer, but I think that they were able to get details in what they did, and that helped get the spacing right on some of the plays that they were looking for. So they need all phases of this offense to click. We will see what goes into that this week. Be sure for y'all to pay attention to the Mike Tomlin press conference to get updates on injuries as we look into that. But we got to take a quick break. When we come back, it's time to get to our stars and skulls grades. Who had the stars? Who had the skulls? I think it's safe to say when you win on the road against a division opponent, you're going to get a constellation with some of the grades out there. We'll go over that next here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Chris Carter, Alan Saunders. Stick with us. We'll be right back. But first, I remind you, this show is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting and with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. The Steelers have already moved. The Steelers are setting themselves up this week as 3.5-point favorites over the Dolphins. Will that hold? We'll find out. But you can be sure to make sure you're getting all the updates that you want, including on player props throughout games, all next touchdown scores, drive results, so many ways to win with FanDuel. It keeps you locked in at every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. We're back here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter, here with Alan Saunders of SteelersNow.com. It's time to get into the stars and skulls grades. Of course, if you're new to the show, as always, each week we do a different kind of grading rubric here. You get 1 to 3 stars for good to great to elite play, 1 to 3 skulls for bad play to bad game to all-time terrible game, and then, of course, the dreaded bus ticket for those who have played poorly. We've given out a few bus tickets this year with things, but no such bus ticket this week, though. We do have some heavy skulls to hand out this week when you give up that many yards in the run. But let's get into this to the stars here, because that was, I think, a big part of this game. And we do got a constellation, especially with the 1 stars, because I thought there were several solid contributors in this game. We also have quite a few of the upper stars too, but let's get into the 1 stars here. Alan, I got Jaylen Warren, Calvin Austin, Kenneth Gainwell, Chris Boswell, Ben Skoranek, and Carson Bruner. Shout out the special teamers. I think they also had a thing. I want to give a hat tip to Carson Bruner. That dude is working hard on the special teams. We'll get to him later. Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth, Isaac Seumalo, Mason McCormick, Zach Frazier, Troy Fautanu, Dylan Cook, Cam Hayward, Cole Holcomb, and Patrick Queen. It's a lot of names I just named there, Alan. So, I know it's a lot to pick through. But real quick, I got to give some. We don't get to talk about I don't talk about these guys often. But Skoranek and Bruner. Skoranek also had a nice 13-yard catch, so he would have gotten a start anyways. But when you look at the fight that these guys had to be active on special teams, I was truly impressed by both of these guys in their efforts.
Yeah, I thought it was a huge win for the Steelers in this game, not in an obvious way. No splash from the special teams, but I felt like they gained yardage every exchange. And in a game between these two teams where field position can often be really precious, I thought it was a real difference maker. The penalty on the final Pittsburgh punt against Baltimore, to me, really is what puts the nail in the coffin of that last Baltimore drive. I thought those special teamers were hugely important. I thought and I thought Corey Slateman had a really good game too.
I thought he did too. Looking at the linebackers here, Cole Holcomb and Patrick Queen both were up there in tackles. I struggled to back and forth with Patrick Queen a bit here because I thought it initially had a 2-star game. He did miss a few tackles here and there, but I thought when he was in, he was a huge factor for the defense. So I tempered him back to a 1-star grade. The long run I thought was on Cole Holcomb. The 55-yarder. I split it between Cole Holcomb and Joey Porter Jr. Joey Porter Jr., a neutral grade for me because of the penalties and that play specifically. I almost gave him a star in this game because I thought he played very well otherwise. But I may revise that afterwards after the show when I put it in the Post Gazette. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the linebacker play because I thought there was a mix of with the run defense and the yards they gave up, but I also thought there were several of the underneath passes, the quick reads that Lamar Jackson wanted that the Steelers largely took away, and Patrick Queen, I thought, in company played a big part in that.
Yeah, I think Queen was pretty good in this game. I thought the difference between the second half against Buffalo when he was not in the game and then the first half of the Baltimore game when he was in the game was very noticeable.
Yeah.
And I thought, as Mike Tomlin said, those are some nervous plays when he was not in there. And I thought he was really good in this game. And then just the sort of, I mean, this isn't like film per se, not what you're doing here, but when you got that guy literally limping back on the field to play in the fourth quarter, and then I actually thought he broke the pass up live. I don't think he got a hand on it, but really good coverage against Mark Andrews in the end zone on fourth down while he's limping to get out on the field. Like, I don't know, man. That's some stuff that I think there's some layers to that. Like that's a warrior right there.
Yeah.
Doing it for his team. And man, if you can't like appreciate that, then I don't know what we're doing here.
I agree with you there. Let's move to our 2-star grades. And one of them is a guy you mentioned, Corliss Waitman. He's had some bad games.
Yeah, sort of in the same. As I was saying, I was like, duh, he's probably the man on this next slide. But in the same conversation, a huge field position win for the Steelers in this game. And a bounce back game for him, too, because he hadn't been very good lately.
Yeah, he had 2 back-to-back really bad games, in my opinion. But 4 punts, 197 total yards. That's 49.3 yards per punt. 53 was his long punt. He had 1 inside the 20. Like you said, he flipped the field for the Steelers. And that's so important in these Ravens games, man. When you have those stuff, because you know that they're going to get their stops, you need to be able to win field position. When you don't turn the ball over, when you punt the ball well, those are like the little things that add up over time and continue to give you a shot there. I also gave 2 stars to TJ Watt. 4 of his tackles were considered run stuffs, and I thought that he did what he could to help stifle the run when he was in there. He also had 4 pressures in this game. He didn't have a big sack, but I thought he made his presence felt.
And another player who did not have a good game last week, and I thought was a big factor in improving his play and being on the winning edge this time around.
Agreed entirely. All right. Full disclosure here. This might be your toughest selection. Maybe not so tough. You're pretty good at this usually. I have 5 3-star players this week. Based on, there's a lot of players that we just named. Can you guess who those 5 are?
All right. There were a lot of players on the 1-star list that I might be forgetting. Some of them are on there. So if I guess one of those, forgive me. James Pierre.
Yes.
Alex Highsmith.
Yes.
Brandin Echols.
Yes.
DK Metcalf.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers.
My man got all 5 in one go. He said, I mean, forgive me if I give a 1-star here. No, dog, you got them all. You didn't have to even sweat about that. Absolutely. Also, it's week 14. I got to fix that slide. Week 14 against Baltimore. But yes, Alex Highsmith, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, James Pierre, Brandin Echols. Real quick here, Alan, and we'll get to Metcalf, Rodgers, and Highsmith. But, like, is it funny to you that, like, the Steelers came into this season saying we have these awesome cornerbacks they're going to play so well this season,
and they did,
and they did. It's just Brandin Echols and James Pierre, the guys who were backups to Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey.
I mean, the James Pierre thing is unbelievable to me.
Yeah, what a great story.
I mean, a guy who's been here forever was cut. Only got brought back last year because Corey Trice got hurt. It's just a total afterthought as a defensive player. Obviously a valued special teamer, but I mean, only gets in there because it's an emergency, and then just takes advantage. Was always a guy when he was younger that you could kind of see the potential there. But just for whatever reason over the years, he got plenty of opportunities and wasn't ever able to make them stick. And now he is 6 years into his career. I don't think you're going to see too many career arcs like James Pierre ever in the NFL. That's a 101.
I agreed. It's just a great run for him.
They're gonna have to pay him. I don't know how he's earning like millions of dollars here.
He should be. I hope that it doesn't go unnoticed. The Steelers are kind of getting away just paying him dirt cheap right now. It's so funny. At the beginning of the season, I thought even with Ramsey and Slay brought in, I thought corner is going to be a priority in this draft class, and maybe it still should be.
Yeah, I think it still should be, but
man, maybe James Pierre and Brandin Echols paired with Joey Porter Jr., who I also think is playing well. Again, I'm back and forth between a neutral game and a one-star game with Joey because of the penalties, but I think he gave up no receptions officially. So when you factor that in, I also want to push back on the play where you said that Patrick Queen was guarding Mark Andrews. Brian Baldinger brought this up, and nothing against Brian Baldinger. I think he's great at his job. But he brought up he thinks that pass was intended for DeAndre Hopkins. And it's very possible. It looked like it could have been what Lamar was aiming for. But people were like, oh, man, if Mark Andrews doesn't tip that pass, Joey Porter Jr. was waiting for that ball. He was sitting there come on, throw it. And he was jumping it. And you could even see as the ball is getting tipped, he's jumping into the frame to get in front of D-Hop. I think if that ball doesn't get tipped, Porter at least breaks it up, maybe even picks it off in the end zone and gives them the ball at the 20. So I think Joey, I might give him a star back, but so that together. But we got to talk about these other guys before we get to the skulls. Alex Highsmith, only a sack, but I thought this was a phenomenal game by him. There were at least two plays where they tried either a jet sweep or a pop pass out to his side, and he had to maintain his leverage out in space. And that is not hard. That is not easy to do. But he did it so well multiple times, and it kept stuffing the Ravens out in space. And I know that had to be frustrating because they thought they had that matchup.
And I don't think the thing is that he didn't get a lot of sacks. But I'll tell you what else they didn't do. They didn't open escape hatches for Lamar Jackson.
Agreed.
They stayed very disciplined in their rush, and they created pressure. They didn't get him to the ground, just two. Right? Echols on the corner blitz early, Highsmith on the last play of the game. They didn't get him to the ground, but I thought they were able to affect him frequently without necessarily getting the sack because they were holding back a little bit, trying to maintain that rush lane integrity. And that's how, we have this debate in football about what matters more, the pressure or the sack. And I do feel like this is a game where you could feel the accumulation of the pressure throughout the game, even though there wasn't a sack against him, weighing on Lamar Jackson. And I think you look at how ineffective that Baltimore final drive was. I think you can directly attribute it to how good the Steelers pass rush was over the course of the game of both pressuring him and at the same time keeping him hemmed in.
Absolutely. And I feel like we'd be remiss to not just acknowledge the other 2-3 stars that I think are pretty obvious here. Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf. I mean, a huge day for them. DK Metcalf, I'd say his best game as a Steeler. Not just statistically, but just overall the catches he was making. You could see the energy he had, and then also something I did not get to really see live because I did my show right after the game. But the factor of him going in as the gunner, as when he sees Ben Skoranek hand injured, he says, hey, you get off, you're hurt. And then Ben Skoranek goes to Brandin Echols, hey, you get off. And then you got both of them scrapping with the Ravens down the field. I tweeted this after the game, but when I saw that and then I saw DK Metcalf describe what happened and then Ben Skoranek describe what he did, that's the kind of stuff that you want in your wide receiver. That's the feistiness. That's the leadership. That's the heart that you want. And that's the kind of leader I think you want in your wide receiver room kudos to DK Metcalf. I think it's also good that he flew home the day after the game. I know he had to stay in Baltimore for a stomach issue. Someone worried about appendicitis. You don't fly back a day later if it's appendicitis. So hopefully for DK Metcalf, it was just something minor that won't impact him moving forward.
Yeah, man. I can't think there's too many wide receiver ones that are covering kicks. And not only that, did a phenomenal job of it. I'm watching it happen, and I'm thinking, oh, this is actually kind of smart by Danny Smith because Baltimore is going to think it's a fake. So
right.
if they're not going to be able to rush the punter, like they're going to have to play safe. You know, I actually feel like it's kind of a cheat code. If you put DK Metcalf out there, any punt rush that they had put on is immediately wiped out because they're not going to risk that, right? And meanwhile, no, it's just Ford was just like, nah, I got this. Let me at him.
Let me at him. And then of course Aaron Rodgers. I mean, 4 for 4 on his deep balls. 23 of 34, 284 yards, a touchdown pass, but also that touchdown run. And then going back and listening to his explanation of the touchdown run and just being like, no, I just saw the Johnny getting pushed inside. And I was just like, those are two big guys, but I could probably outrun him. And he gets to the corner on him to make that play and then make the other plays that he made. I think he certainly he deserved his credit for this one. I give him 3 stars for making big plays and being the catalyst for this offense to get going.
It's huge. It was huge.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk about the skulls because there were a decent amount to hand out. We'll get to those next here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Chris Carter, Alan Saunders. Stick with us. We'll be right back. But first, I remind you that this show is also brought to you by Mint Mobile. You know, there's no reason to let big wireless drain your wallet, especially during the holidays. Right now, Mint Mobile is running their best deal of the year. All of their unlimited plans are 50% off. That means you can lock in 3, 6, or even 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. It's the easiest way to take your overpriced phone bill and give it the full Scrooge treatment. And what makes this even better is how simple Mint makes the switch. No contracts, no nonsense, just real savings and real quality service. Switching to Mint lets you keep your same coverage for a lower price. Setup takes only a few minutes. You can bring your own phone and number in without any issues. Turn your expensive wireless present into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Shop Mint unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. It's a limited time offer. Upfront payments of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plans required. That's a $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees. Initial plan term only. Over 35 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com for details. We're back here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Chris Carter, Alan Saunders, from SteelersNow.com. Let's get into the skulls here real quick. We did have some skulls to hand out pretty much on the defensive side of the ball. We'll start with our 1 skulls. I gave 1 skulls out to Chuck Clark, Jabril Peppers, and Peyton Wilson. I'm so proud of myself for typing Jabril Peppers because I've called him Julius Peppers 1,000 times this season for no reason. Just the J Peppers always gets me.
Bro, I typed the wrong Jalen for Ramsey today for the first time, and I'm not okay about it.
I feel you there. Just real quick, these weren't terrible. I thought that Peppers and Clark got beaten coverage a few times. They were caught out of position. I think Peyton Wilson just caught in that spot. Weren't terrible, just like spots that I thought they could have been better in.
Yeah. I thought they got them both, one each really on a couple of deep passes. I think it was Zay Flowers both times actually. Yeah. And Peyton Wilson, I thought like the run defense was spotty, and they ended up playing a lot of Cole Holcomb and Malik Harrison as a result.
Yeah, I think that's where Peyton Wilson has to shore up in his game is his run defense because I think when I looked at it, Pro Football Focus charted him for just 6 run defense snaps. You need to be able to be on the field as a run defender if you're going to be an every down linebacker, which is what the Steelers hope he can be. But hey, he's young. He's still growing. Let's get to our 2 skulls here. A couple D linemen, Y.A. Black and Keanu Benton. I also threw in Jalen Ramsey because he got torched on the likely touchdown. And I thought that he didn't have his best game, but I might be a little harsher on Ramsey here than I should be. But I thought that was a crucial play that he needed to be better on. TJ Watt sort of passed him off to him on that play, and he just didn't run with him at all. The only Y.A. Black and Keanu Benton kind of showcased that the Steelers need more depth, and they need Derek Harmon back. I think that's the bottom line. They don't because they're not getting more depth this year, but they kind of showcase that because I saw a lot of people saying Y.A. Black should be the nose tackle, not Keanu Benton, and not Keanu Benton's getting whooped. But you saw what happened when Y.A. Black was put at the nose. It did not go well. The only reason these guys don't get 3 skulls, because I think they were a big part of some of the big runs that the Steelers gave up, is that Benton did have some important run stuffs, and Black
both got after the quarterback.
Both got after the quarterback. Specifically Y.A. Black, I was really impressed with how big that man is, and he was the one that chased Lamar to the sideline and kept him honest on the James Pierre interception. Also, I just love if you watch the replay from the end zone angle, you can just see him go, and when the pass goes and he sees the James Pierre's intercepted, he just goes ha! This is the way he celebrates it's because he's such a big human. It's just I find it comical, but 2 skulls because they need to be better against the run. They got blown off the ball a lot too often for my liking, but the effort from both in certain spots, I said I can't give these guys 3 skulls in this one.
Yeah, totally agree. Man, when I saw Keanu Benton down early in that game, I thought
toast.
This could be trouble. And then he came back, and credit to him for playing. He's probably feeling it throughout that game, and maybe you can maybe give him some grace for that. But I thought he was. I thought they were both better in pass. I thought they were good against the pass, but the run issues continue.
They did. I do have one 3-sculler here. I'll give you the guess. It's not a fair one because it's not one that's going to come right to mind.
Okay. All right. I
just a player that we don't talk about a lot.
I appreciate that guess. I was thinking there wasn't going to be. I wasn't paying attention, so now I'm on the spot here.
I'll give you a look through the 1 skulls here: Clark, Peppers, and Wilson. 2 skulls here are Black, Benton, and Ramsey.
Okay, I don't think it can be on defense then.
It is on defense. I'll give you that hint.
It is on defense, really.
It's a player who had 34 defensive snaps, which is why they kind of landed here because they just didn't contribute much.
This has to be Asezi Atomowo then.
Correct. He had 34 snaps, and just here's the thing: is that he got blown off the ball. He did have one play where he got in and made a stop. He got blown off the ball, but he did not have the redeeming, I think, important plays that Benton and
he had one good pressure. I feel that. Yeah. I would generally kind of grade him on a lighter curve than some of these guys.
Maybe he should be on a curve,
but I agree. I think this is more the problem is that you're playing Asezi Atomowo 34 snaps, nothing that he did, right? I mean, not like he was out there doing stuff you weren't expecting.
Right. That's very true.
He started the year 8th on their depth chart at the defensive line.
Yeah, and that's a very fair point. And I don't say this as that's why
I'll say this. I thought he might have been better than Black against the run, but you're right. He did not have the big sort of moments to offset some of the negativity. He might have had one. He might have had a tackle for loss, maybe. No, I might be thinking of a different play.
No, it wasn't a tackle for loss. There was a play where I think he had a run. Like he did have a run stuff, but I thought it was kind of like a team run stuff play, and that's why I graded it that way. There, I might
feel like you're being a little harsh on O there, but I could be. I get you. Chris, I know you didn't give up a bus ticket, but I have one.
Ooh, who's the bus ticket for?
I have a bus ticket for the definition of a catch.
Let's go. I like
the
this. I like
this.
this.
Nobody has any freaking idea what a catch is.
Mm-mm.
No one. The NFL doesn't. It changes 4 times a game. It's not the same anywhere. Yeah, it just adds so much unnecessary frustration and indecision. And what sucks is that's a really good game. Honestly, I thought it was a really good game between the Steelers and the Ravens, 2 teams desperate to get in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And every conversation about that game in the national media afterwards was mostly centered around the officiating because nobody knows what a catch is.
And listen, this is nothing new, right? Like this is
James.
Exactly. This is that all over again. This is Calvin Johnson from what was that 2012, 2013, whenever that game was, where he like caught the ball in the end zone and put the ball on the ground, and they said that wasn't completing the catch. It has long been an issue that's been that people have complained about. People have said we don't know what a catch is. I did feel like in this instance, what they've always described as a catch, that's not it. He had 2 hands on the ball. He did get 2 feet down, but he didn't make the football move or control it through the.
I don't want to ever hear the words football. Actually, that football move is specifically the bus ticket I want to hand out. I don't ever want to hear those words again. He didn't make a football move because he had the ball with 2 feet down in the end zone, which means he scored a touchdown and he didn't have to do anything else, which is what anybody who did that would do. By the way, I will say there is a line in that rule that says do those things or had time to.
Right.
He had time to. He just didn't. I think it should have been a touchdown.
See, that's where I disagree. I think that he had the ball out. If he holds on to the ball when he gets that 3rd foot down, I'd agree. But when you don't have
time to put the ball away, he just didn't.
And that's on him.
No, it's not because the rule says or had time to.
But that's the thing. If he had time to get that 3rd foot down, then I think that would have counted. Like everyone compared it to the Roman Wilson touchdown against the Packers. Yeah. Roman Wilson had 4.
You watched that play live, and you were like, "That's not a catch."
I didn't see it live from the TV angle to think that to see the ball get knocked away. But when I saw the replay, I was like, he's not controlling that ball. It's the same. Honestly, Zay Flowers didn't control that ball either on the sideline when they awarded him that one.
Jesse James, those are all catches. They're all catches. Stop.
I see. I think Jesse James is different because he went down to 2 knees, stopped, and then he did put the ball forward. Likely caught the ball out here with his 2 hands and then had it knocked away before he got his 3rd foot down.
Well, why do we have a 3rd foot? 2 feet in the ball. That's a catch. That's a touchdown. Done. Stop with all the other nonsense.
Hey, take it up with the rules. That's the way they've called it for years. The Steelers have been burned. I think Brandin Fehoko did a great job. He brought up a Deontay Johnson catch. I'm like, I remember that play where it was supposed to be a touchdown. He thought, they said,
hey, that was awful too. That was bad. Point out other examples of the rule being dumb. Doesn't sway me. The rule is dumb.
Hey, no, I agree with you there. The rule is stupid.
Yes,
but that is the rule.
The rule is the problem. Yes.
Agreed entirely there.
Get rid of football move entirely. Send it on the bus.
I was trying to get a good picture of Roger. If I had time, I was trying to get a picture of Roger Goodell to put it on the bus ticket thing just to get it there. But I was having too many tech problems here to get it done with your bus ticket grade. But I do agree with you. The rule is dumb, and they should change it. I doubt they will, because if they change it, it'll be to something else that will be also impossible to interpret, and we'll have lots of complaints about this either way. But either way, looking at this, we gave out our skulls, we gave out our stars. Let us know what you guys think of some of these grades. Do we have someone too high, someone too low? Let us know where you think they should have been. Alan, thank you for joining us here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Let people that can find you, follow you, and get more of your work.
_PGH on social media. SteelersNow.com is where you can find my written work and my podcast. Steelers Morning Rush and Steelers Afternoon Drive are on the Steelers Now YouTube page or anywhere you find podcasts.
Absolutely. He's Alan Saunders. I'm Chris Carter here on the Locked On Steelers podcast. Be sure to check me out on social media at Carter Critiques on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, wherever you get your social media handle. And always, you can find me in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette by going to post-gazette.com. Wrote my Carter's Critiques article. You can read my Stars and Skulls grades there. Those will be up on Tuesday morning. You can also check out my updated look at the quarterback field for the upcoming NFL draft and all my other written work for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette there. But as always, you can find me here on the Locked On Steelers podcast every day, Monday through Friday, on your favorite podcasting apps and on YouTube. Like this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to this YouTube channel to get all of your daily Monday through Friday episodes. Back here tomorrow talking all things Steelers here on the Locked On Steelers podcast.